This is a Bailey Olympus 545. Just going to take you around the van and show you how it operates. Front of the van, you've got jockey wheel, hitch and handbrake. We'll demonstrate these to you in person here on site. In the front locker, you have your gas turn on, so you have your gas valve on top. You turn it anti-clockwise to turn the gas supply on, and clockwise to turn the gas supply off. The pipe work that goes into the front of the bottle is a reverse thread fitment. You need to turn it the opposite way to a standard bottle cap, for instance, to release it from the front of the caravan. In the front locker, you have your grey pipe work and your leg winder also for the caravan. Coming down the side of the van, you have a storage locker on the front right hand side. You also have one of these on the opposite side of the van as well. You've then got a second storage locker coming down the side of the van also for accessories to go into. In that locker as well, when you look inside, you'll also find you've got your hot water tank just down in the corner there, but I'll show you that from the inside. When you're running the hot water systems or heating systems on board the caravan, you need to remove this cover prior to use to allow the heating systems to breathe. It's basically the same as the flue you have on the side of your house. You've then got your water pump connection, which very simply pulls out and pushes into the side of the caravan, and you lock the cap in place. The pickup pipe needs to be fully submerged in water before turning the water pump on. If it is not fully submerged in water, it will not draw water up from the aqua roll, and it will essentially cause an airlock in the water pipe work. You've then got your two fridge vents. Two fridge vents are very simply there to allow the hot air out the back of the fridge unit and take some cool air in. Behind one of those, you'll also find a gas flue for when you're running the fridge on gas. The motor mover and wheel nuts. The wheel nuts will be torqued before you leave sight with the caravan, and we'll demonstrate the motor mover later in the video. You've then got your two grey waste pipes going outside the van, so the fresh water that goes in here has to come out somewhere, and it'll come out through these two pipes on the side of the caravan. Coming down to the back of the van, you've got your wind down legs on either side at the rear to stabilise the caravan while it's in sight. You've also got the two from the front as well that come in from either side of the van. Coming around the back of the van, please bear in mind the van hasn't been cleaned at this point, so I do apologise for any mess on the van here. So you've got your toilet flush tank here, and you'll need to put 3.5 litres of water in here and a cap full of the pink fluid prior to use, and that will allow the toilet system to flush. In the bottom cassette, you have your toilet waste cassette, which are released by pulling up the orange handle and pulling the cassette towards you. The orange neck here turns out 90 degrees, so you can tip the waste away. The grey cap is a measure for your pink and your blue fluid. And on the back of the cassette, you've got an orange pressure relief button, so when you're tipping the waste away, it doesn't spit and splatter back at you. Down the front of the van, on this side, you've also got a storage locker, again, the same as you have on the opposite side of the van. Coming on to the inside of the caravan now. On the inside of the caravan, as you come into the van, you've got your master power switch, so you've got your power on and off for the whole of the caravan. You've got your interior lighting for the caravan. You've got your awning light for the outside of the van and your water pump switch. I'm going to show you how to fill the water system in a second. If you don't get any power come on when you connect to mains power, I advise you find the 240 trip switches, which are just in this cabinet underneath the front seating area on the left hand side. If you hit the test switch here and this switch drops down, it means there is mains power coming into the caravan from the site you're on. If it doesn't drop down, it means there is no mains power coming into the caravan. Along the bottom here, you've got your 12 volt fuses for your 12 volt systems on board the caravan. And each of these is individually marked along the top here with what size fuse should be in there and what each of these fuses is for along the bottom. Once you know you've got mains power coming into the caravan, you can come underneath the seat on the right hand side of the caravan. And underneath this seat on the right hand side of the van, you will find your yellow drain down valve. Now, to fill the water system up on board the caravan, that yellow valve needs to be flat with the floor, as it is at the moment, as you can see here. And if you want to drain the water system down, it needs to be pointing upright towards the bottom of the seat. That will drain all the water out of the system on board the van, and you do need to make sure it is drained down after each use of the caravan. So once it is drained down, or to drain it down, you need to lift that valve up and put it upright towards the bottom of the seat, then open all the taps up in the central position between the hot and the cold. To fill the water system up, you need to open all the taps up on the hot side of the water system. As you can see, I've already pre-filled the system. And then once the taps are open, you'll come over to the main control panel by the door, and you'll turn on the water pump. The green light there will indicate the water pump is running. And once the water system is full and you have water running out of every tap on the hot side continuously on board the van, you can shut all of the taps back off. and then you can start thinking about warming the water on board the van. So now that tap's turned off, I can warm the water up. So just on the wall down here, you're going to see you have your hot 230 volt water heater. As you can see, that is currently turned on. So with that on, the water system will warm up on the mains power that is coming into the caravan. If you're on mains power and you want to boost the water system for showering on board the caravan, you would need to use the gas on this control above. So it's very simple to use. If you want to use it at 50 degrees, you put the switch to the 50 degree position. If it ignites on gas, you're going to get a green light on either this side or this side, and that means it's ignited on gas. If you get a red light appear, it means it has failed to ignite on gas. The same is if you're running it on the 70 water degree temperature here, but like I said, if you are on electric, you will need to use the gas to boost the water system when you're showering on board the van. If you're off grid, then you just use the gas solely as a power source, and again it will boost when it is on the gas on its own. So that is your hot water for the caravan. If you want the hot water off on mains, you switch your switch off here and it will isolate the power to it. Next up, we've got the heater itself. So to operate the heating on board the caravan, you've got a dial here above the heater, and this is your electric heating. You've got the option of 500, 1000 or 2000 watts. To operate this switch, you will need to make sure the main power switch is on next to it, and when it is on, and you turn the switch to the correct power source that's coming into the caravan. Some sites will be different, so some sites may only have 500 watts available, or some may have 2000 watts available. You'll spin the outer grey dial to the temperature, to the power supply you want it to run on, and then you'll control the temperature of the heater on electric on this dial in the centre here. 1 being the lowest heat setting and 9 being the highest. To turn the heater off, you'll spin it back to the off position in the centre here. On top of the heater, you've also got the option to run gas. Now it works a bit like a gas fire or a gas barbecue. Hold down the valve and turn it round to the highest setting. Continue to hold down the gas valve with the gas turned on in the front locker, and once it's ignited on gas, you'll have a pilot light in this window down the front of the heater. Once it has ignited, you'll need to continue to hold down the gas valve for a further 5-10 seconds, then slowly release the valve, and then you'll be able to control the temperature of the heater on gas on this dial on top. To isolate the gas supply, you need to turn this white line back to the 0 at the top here, and it will turn off the gas supply to the heater itself. I should say, sorry, when you are pushing down that valve to ignite it, you will need to hit the igniter on this side to get it to ignite. On top of the heater on the right hand side, you have your blown air controls. So on this caravan, you'll see white vents around the van underneath the seating areas and at the front, and you have 2 different ways of running the blown air heating. So you spin this bottom dial, so this white line points towards the M, and that is essentially manual blown air, so we can control the fan speed on this dial on top. It can also be used as a cold air fan if the heating is not turned on. The A is automatic blown air, and essentially this will cut in and out with the thermostat on board the caravan. So as the caravan warms up, the heating will cut out, and as the temperature drops down, the blown air will kick back in to start warming the van back up again. You have got your fan speed control again on top, and that also works when it is on the automatic blown air. Hob, grill and oven all work very much like your household appliances with the igniter on the front here. While you're on site, please go through that, ignite the heating, ignite everything up on gas so you can see everything is working as it should. To turn the fridge on, you've got a power button here on the left hand side. Let me just come down to the same level as the fridge. So we're going to turn the fridge on, turn the fridge off to start with. Turn the fridge on, press and hold the grey button. Once the fridge has come on, you're going to see it's going to go to mains power. So it's on its coldest setting at the moment because all of these bars here are lit up. To change the power source you want to use, press and hold the grey button, and then we've got the option of gas, for instance. You hit the grey button to select the gas option, and then when the icon starts flashing on the right hand side here, you can actually use the arrows left or right to control the fridge temperature, and you'll press the central button to select that temperature. If the fridge ignites on gas, this pilot light here will stay lit up as it is now. It will go dark after a few seconds just to power save essentially. But if this starts flashing at all and the fridge starts beeping at you, it means the fridge has failed to ignite on gas. Next up, we're going to go to the 12 volt mode. Now, a lot of people think it's the 12 volt battery on board the caravan that powers this. It is not. It is the 12 volt supply from the car you are towing with. So you'll press the grey button. Once you connect to your car, select the battery mode. You don't need to worry about the temperature control, so hit the grey button again. And then the fridge will start operating as a cool box, but it will only work if you have the correct connection on your car coming to the caravan. The red light indicates here that it is not being powered currently by a 12 volt supply from the car. Press and hold the grey button again, and you can go back to your 240 mains and set it on the coldest setting if you wish to. Coming through into the bathroom now, and the last thing on the inside of the caravan we're going to go through. To allow the toilet system to flush, you're going to press the blue button on top here, which allows the toilet to flush. You have a toilet full indicator light that lets you know when the toilet waste cassette is completely full. The toilet seat itself actually turns for your convenience, as you can see here. However, when you're removing the toilet waste cassette from the caravan, the toilet needs to be back in the centre position. Then below the toilet, you have the grey waste handle, which you pull into the open position, which allows the waste into the cassette. But when you're tipping the waste away, it does need to be back in the closed position. If it's not in the closed position, it will stop you from removing that toilet waste cassette from underneath the van. Next up, we have the motor mover. Now, to engage the motor mover against the wheel, you'll need the bar that you see here. You'll put it onto the side of the van, just here. You'll pull the bar over and lock it in place. You need to push it so it's tight down. You'll then come in the side locker of the van once you've removed the power cable. And you're going to put your red power switch in place. So with the red power key in place, you can turn the motor mover power on. You press the key in and turn it 90 degrees. So that turns the power from the battery to the motor movers. You'll press the two green buttons on the controller, and then you'll have forwards. The A-frame at the front here always been the front. Backwards, turn, 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 and turn. To isolate the controller, you press the two green buttons and it will turn the controller off. Then you'll turn the power off in the side locker and disconnect the bar on the side of the van. Disengage it. Also, when you're trying to move the caravan, you'll need to make sure the handbrake is off, which works like a standard car handbrake with the button on top. Push the handle down and it will release the handbrake. So that's the Bailey Olympus 545. If you have any further questions on the caravan, please don't hesitate to give us a call here at the Caravan Company, and we'll be more than happy to help. We appreciate your business and we look forward to seeing you here on site soon. Thanks again. Bye bye.